Receptionists are extremely undervalued in the corporate world. So let me tell you a story to make this point. There was a company I once worked at, and that company had a wonderful receptionist called Anna. Now, I remember when I started off at this company, Anna would always make me feel welcome with her warmth. She would smile when I walked in, just like she would smile at everyone. She would engage in a conversation, ask you how you're going. And, one thing that was really special is that whenever you would walk in, you would be met by a person before you would then step into the office and go about your work. And it was really hard to understand the true value of Anna until she was no longer there, which kind of sucks in a way. There was some point later on in the year where I walked into the office and Anna wasn't there. And then I didn't really notice anything strange because she could have been there, not been there for whatever reason, except it turned from one day of her not being there to multiple days of her not being there. And then I asked questions and I found out that she was let go, which was a massive shock. Now, for whatever reasons she was let go, I don't know what it could have been related to, but I can tell you this, that from that moment on, from when she was no longer there, and by the way, she was never replaced by another receptionist for the next couple of years. From that moment on, the mood in the office just started to go downhill. From going from a place where we would have someone to welcome us whenever we got out of the lift, we turned to the left and we could see that wonderful smile from Anna. It was just an empty seat. It just wasn't the same. And the interesting thing is that from that point on, I would say there was just a downward spiral in office culture. And it's not to say that it was purely because of Anna's departure, but I would say that it set the tone. It set the tone, and I'm going to tell you why. Receptionists are a reminder to your team that people matter. Because when there is a receptionist at an office, they are the first person that every single team member who walks in sees. The receptionist can literally set the tone for someone's day at the office by having a positive conversation with them. And I know this from experience because I've been in offices that have had no receptionists at all during my time there. And I've been at offices that have had receptionists throughout the entire time there. And I've experienced both people who are not great at being receptionists, as in they're not very welcoming, and people who are really good at making you feel welcome. And I can tell you that it makes a big difference to how teams feel when they walk into an office. It sets the tone for culture, it sets the tone for happiness to happen in the office. In this world where companies are moving towards making cuts in the office because they're choosing efficiency, I think that it's being forgotten what the true value of receptionists are. Receptionists shouldn't be weighed based on their ability to do administrative work. I really don't think that is the true value of a receptionist. The true value of a receptionist is the warmth that they make the team feel as they walk into the office, the feel good hit that they give them as they start their day, because it sets the tone with a face to face interaction saying, "Hey, it's so good to see you, Daniel. You are welcome here. I really hope you have a nice day." It it makes a difference. It's not something small. It is a huge thing. And to be honest, the value for money you get out of paying a receptionist a salary, I think, is huge. The value of making your team feel good is huge. And I would say, at an absolute level too, it is not easy being a receptionist. I think the amount of people out there, the portion of society that have, I guess, the skill and the personality of being able to really be very personable, make your team feel warm with a smile, with a conversation. Not everyone can do that. And I can tell you from experience, I've come across a receptionist in the past who did that terribly. Like, that person should not have been in that role, because every time I would come across them, I would be met with a frown or frustration, like they were just annoyed at things, they were annoyed at their job. Um, and yeah, like, they never ever made me feel good coming into the office. In fact, it set the tone of my day pretty poorly, to the point where I would avoid that person. So it is, being a receptionist is not just a highly valuable job because of the way that it can make your team feel good, or make a team feel good at the start of the day in the office, but not many people can do it. It isn't something you can study to get well at, to be very a warm, welcoming person. It is, I would argue that, well, I would probably say that even I may struggle to be a receptionist, like to maintain that energy all day, um, to make a team feel good, and to kind of be that strength to kind of be warm and welcoming all day. Like, it's not easy, but it makes a difference. So I hope that the world changes in a way where corporations start to see the true value of receptionists, and put aside efficiency goals, and put people first. Because if we're moving to a world where, we've gone from everyone being in an office, to COVID where everyone's working from home, to now companies wanting people to come back to the office, you have to set up the environment to make it more enjoyable for people to be at the office. And that means creating more warmth. And that means hiring awesome receptionists that make people feel warm, and not measuring the value of receptionists as being their ability to do administrative work, but measuring their value with regards to how they make your team feel. Because if they make your team feel good, then they are doing a fucking amazing job. So yes, I finished this video saying once again that receptionists are highly undervalued by society, by the corporate world. And they need to be recognized for the value that they create. And I would argue that they create a lot of value for employee well-being, employee happiness, and, dare I say, employee retention.